Item number 6, Ms. Husky.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2009-100, appointing Judy Gensler Collins to the Environmental Affairs Commission, said term to expire on August 26, 2010, be approved.
And is she prepared with her speech?
Shall I second?
Easily.
Yeah, go ahead, second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
I bet.
Thank you, Judy. Turning to call to the public, I have 2 people. I'm going to ask Mr. Newcomb to go first, and then we'll let Mr. Finley have his call to the public. Okay?
I'm Andre Newcomb, 26 Wolf Street, that's NEWC1B. In 1989, I was going through a dumpster in January, February, and I found a thing like this. It was a dumpster about as tall as this is to the floor, and a large dumpster. And inside, when I find things that are worthwhile, I like to take them to Saint Vincent for the charity, people, because they create jobs and they also make things available to people who cannot afford things. So when I find things, I look to see if they're worthwhile. So when I found a notebook like this, a steno pad, I looked inside to see if it was okay or if it was just full of scribbling. The notebook was empty except for one page. This was at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, January or February in 1989. This was within half a year after they had just kicked me in the head. They had stolen all my property. They were drugging me like crazy while I was putting food on your tables in the Rio Grande. So anyhow, I looked through this notepad, and there's one page with writing in there, and it has my mother's name in there. It says, Barbara Garcia, 35 years of irreplaceable experience. Now imagine finding something like that at 10 or 11 o'clock at night in a dumpster this high that is 2/3 full of trash. And I'm 35 years old. At the time, you people had a different magistrate other than the blonde guy. And the city people brought me to this place for a hearing. For one reason or another, I had been arrested. And while I was in the jail, they had some people conversing. And I told them about finding something like this with my mother's name in it. And after leaving this property, the city cops, the prisoner said to them, well, it looks like he found the key. So in other words, this was something to do with some sort of game that's going on. I told my mom about this, and she said, don't tell the judge. This is the first time I've ever told anyone official about this. Now, back in the 60s, in the early 60s, when we were in Paris, France, they took us to a place at the NCO club, Camp de Loge, outside of Paris, France. And they were filming our family, and I suspect that was filming so that they could pinpoint the person to torture. Because if you've ever been with anyone, and they say to someone, put a little ice in mine, and then they look at that, that means that person is mine, and put some ice in it. Now, women like to claim that they are the water, or their water broke. And good old man likes to say that he's hard water, that his water gets hard. They are guys and dolls. When they like to say that crystal methamphetamines is ice, So when someone says to put a little ice in mine, that was the instructions, and they looked at me, and then it was passed on. Just as though as in Portland, Maine, when I'm hit by a car at nighttime while on School Street, 50 years ago next year in March. Now I'm telling you that your police are crooks, or you people are incompetent and are not worthy to govern. Because there have been things going on. My mother had, in her house, had her heating removed and a gas furnace put in with no outlet. I suspect someone told her to do that, so that that house is a gas chamber. And you people and your police are constantly running sirens and screams over their loudspeakers that you are supposedly the ones in charge. I've even talked to Mr. Patusik about whether or not you've had electronic sweeps of this place, because there have been times I have been in meetings in this place that the general public does not go to, that I get comments later on while walking the streets or just down here at Ethel Berger's place, you know, where they're listening in on the stuff. And I've asked him if he ever went to Washington, has he ever requested an anonymous and extra governmental surveillance sweeps of the electronics in this place. Just like I've also asked him about the city planning of this town. Because when I was raped in Denver, Colorado, there is a part of this town over on Wilcox Street and 2nd Street that every building in the town in that area corresponds to my experience of having been raped and being fisted. And I'm telling you that you police are not fit to govern because you are not in control. You can't even pick up on things that are going on. You need to change, all of you. Because you keep hurting me. You've hurt my family. We're in a gas chamber. My brother has a knee and an ankle out. My sister has a shoulder out. I have a sister who has had a hysterectomy and accused of murder, and you can't seem to get your police in order. I think you all need to resign. And you ought to be put in jail.